Boruto episode 219 is scheduled to release on October 10th, and the title for this episode is called Return, and in this video, I'll be discussing the entire plot for this upcoming episode. After the defeat of Isshiki Otsutsuki, Code wakes up at the Ten Tails' location where he was ordered by Isshiki to watch over. He checks on the Ten Tails itself and sees that everything is fine. He then looks at his hand, checking his white karma, and says he wouldn't have wasted the opportunity to become an Otsutsuki like Kawaki did. As Code's karma suddenly activates, Isshiki's spirit appears and he begins talking to Code and addresses him as his most loyal servant. With all his vessels gone and nowhere for his soul to dwell on, Isshiki points out that his soul's destination would now be Code, who couldn't become a vessel originally. Code then proceeds to ask Isshiki what happened, and Isshiki explains he was betrayed by Amato and was forced to reincarnate in Jigen, which then caused Kawaki's karma to erase. Code, thinking that his white karma is useless, is humbled that Isshiki appeared before him, but believes he isn't able to serve as his vessel. However, Isshiki states that Code's white karma is his legacy and declares Code he will inherit the Otsutsuki will. Unwilling to let that will die, Isshiki instructs Code to do what the Otsutsuki have been doing for thousands of years, and that's consuming the life of planets. He continues to instruct Code to cultivate a god tree by feeding Boruto or Kawaki to the Ten Tails, and once that's done, Code would consume the new tree's chakra fruit and would officially become a new Otsutsuki. Once this is accomplished, Code would then go forth and devour planet after planet across space, as this would make him keep evolving until he would eventually become an Otsutsuki god. As a follower and worshipper of Isshiki, Code wants to dispose of the ones who defeated him and proceeds to ask Isshiki for their names. After Isshiki disappears, Code then lists the ones involved in Ishiki's defeat, as they are Kawaki, Amato, Sasuke, Naruto, and Boruto. Meanwhile, after Boruto struggled to take everyone back to Konoha, Kawaki had believed Boruto was scared that Momoshiki would manifest again. Kawaki then assured Boruto he'll help him get rid of his karma. As Boruto and Kawaki continued discussing, Boruto was able to create a rift for them to return back to Konoha. Meanwhile, at the hideout in Konoha, Shikamaru coordinated with the others while Amato was in deep thought. Shikamaru received word that Naruto and the others were back and that Isshiki was defeated. Looking with suspicion, Sumire had noticed Amato's concern for Kawaki after he was deep in thought and wasn't aware of the present moment. This makes Sumire feel worried, as she believed that something was off about Amato and that he might be hiding something. After some time passes, Boruto is interviewed for his role in saving Konoha from Isshiki while being uncomfortable and wishing for the interview to be over soon. Amato performs maintenance on Kawaki after restoring his arm while being aided by Katasuke and Sumire. Amato then goes on to explain why and how he was able to restore Kawaki's arm, as Sumire asks Kawaki about Boruto. Kawaki then suspects that Sumire likes Boruto, as she immediately gets embarrassed and asks Kawaki to keep it a secret. Before Kawaki leaves, Amato considers asking him something but changes his mind and postpones it for his next maintenance on him. Meanwhile, Sarada, Mitsuki, and Team 10 discuss the protocols and restrictions placed on Boruto and Team 7. They all come to an understanding of how Boruto's karma is considered dangerous to the Leaf Village, and they understand they have to keep quiet about it to avoid causing mass panic within Konoha. They continue to say that Boruto is probably more depressed than anyone in Konoha, and that he can no longer go on missions because it's too dangerous, and that he's also being secretly watched most of the time in the village. Since Boruto can no longer go on missions for now, that applies to Sarada and Mitsuki as well, since they're all part of Team 7 and can't do missions without a teammate missing. Meanwhile, at the Hokage Rock, Kawaki visits Boruto and they discuss what they've learned so far about karma. Kawaki states that both of their bodies are about 80% Otsutsukified, and that the Otsutsuki data within Boruto is still continuing to extract itself from his karma. Kawaki continues to state that once that's completed, the moment Boruto has finished become Momoshiki's vessel, Boruto will disappear somewhere and Momoshiki will supposedly resurrect in his body. While Boruto feels like he's stuck in a nightmare, Kawaki brings up that he thought of something that Boruto could try doing. He hypothesizes that Boruto could make a vessel of his own by implanting someone else with a karma, so he would also be resurrected in another body if Momoshiki were to resurrect in his. Boruto objects to this idea, saying he wouldn't sacrifice someone else, but Kawaki tells him to not worry, as he says he already has someone in mind, and that someone is Code, a person who was the only other guy that had survived Jigen's ritual besides Kawaki himself. Back in the Konoha laboratory, Amato tells Naruto about Code, the last Kara inner left active. He explains claims that Code was left in charge of the Ten Tails, which is another big issue. Shikamaru then points out that they don't have any reliable options of reaching and returning from its destination since Sasuke no longer has his Rinnegan and Boruto can't really control his karma powers. Naruto then asks Amado if Code is able to travel freely to and from the dimension, and Amado confirms that he can with his own abilities that is not space-time ninjutsu. Naruto then says that they need to do something about Code before the Ten Tails gets misused and that they need to prioritize dealing with him so that they have time to deal with the Ten Tails. However, Amado warns them not to underestimate Code as he is considered special and isn't like the other Kara inners. Amado remains wary of Code over their lack of knowledge on karma and reveals that unlike other Kara members, Code allowed his body to be modified to be made weaker as to not undermine Jigen's authority. Code had worshipped the Otsutsuki as gods and envies Kawaki's status as a legitimate vessel. Amado then reveals that he created several cyborgs stronger than Jigen but got rid of them because of Jigen's orders and created Kashin Koji instead. Amado then guesses that Code will seek retribution if he learns Isshiki was defeated and is concerned that Code will come for him to force him to release the limiters in his body. After hearing the major details that Amado spilled about Code, Naruto wants Shikamaru to prepare for a 5 Kage summit to reveal what they know. Back at the Hokage Rock, Kawaki tells Boruto that after he survived receiving his karma, Code was also given one, and despite now becoming a vessel, his compatibility with karma allowed him to survive. Boruto then considers Kawaki's suggestion that becoming an Otsutsuki means they'd have access to their jutsu. He questions if it's even possible to give Code another karma, as Kawaki then stresses that Jigen wouldn't have gone to such trouble if karma were easy to stick, so it's logical to try on someone who already survived and isn't someone else's vessel. He also counters Boruto's hesitation of forcing it on someone else by pointing out that Code is stronger than Delta and Boro. Aware that his father no longer has Kurama, Boruto decides to step up and train. After Code leaves the Ten Tails' location, he arrives at a facility of Boro's cult, which has guards at the front entrance, unwilling to let him in. Code then charges towards them as the guards begin attacking him as he easily evades their attacks. Code then counterattacks and uses one of his abilities, creating and emerging from black bands, as he then killed the gatekeepers and immediately entered the facility. There, Code greets Bug, who's an outer from the Kara organization. Code informs Bug of Jigen and Boro's deaths, as Code then asks about Ada, much to Bug's surprise. Code is aware that Boro stored several cyborgs Jigen ordered to be disposed of and orders Bug to take him to them. Unable to refuse him, Bug takes Code to a containment unit with Ada in it, who Code identifies her as one who knows everything in the world. That's the end of the plot for Boruto episode 219, which once again will be released on October 10th. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.